Good day, everyone. We will look into another wonderful topic today: understanding pixel resolution and measurements. These three terms are very important in design. Pixel is very important. In fact, that's the smallest unit of design of anything, and we'll look at it from the few write-up I have done about them here. Now, design is not done arbitrarily. There are factors that determine the size and sharpness. Every design done is converted to image in any format required, either by the client or based on where needed. Now, what do I mean in that is that you design on CorelDRAW. CorelDRAW saves your job as CDR, which is CorelDRAW format. You design your job as in Photoshop. Photoshop save your job as PSD, which is Photoshop format. Illustrator save your job as AI, which is Illustrator format. But not all places where you need this design accept all these formats. Take for instance Facebook. If you want to put a design on Facebook, you must convert it to Jpeg because Facebook does not recognize CDR. In fact, all social media does not recognize design softwares. They only recognize them when they are converted to JPEG or PNG or PDF, depending. So for that reason, you must be able to know how to convert all your design to this format. And this format also have to do with size, the heaviness and the length, the breadth of it. Mind you, all of these things also have to do with the printing purpose. Now, let's look at the few sizes, a few formats that we have. We have JPEG, PNG, PDF, EPS, ESG, TIFF. These are not the few ones we have. There are several formats, up to 20, 30 formats that we have. When we get to some of the software, we will see some of them. But the major ones that are mostly used are the one I listed here. Talking about JPEG, you are very familiar with JPEG, I'm sure, which means Joint Photographic Expert Group, and others likewise too. These formats are what you convert your job to, and it is seen based on this format. Now, how does your job look like? How is it being converted? What are you to consider when you are converting your job to any of these formats based on the size of those places you need them? You need to consider the size of the place you need them. You need it on Facebook. Facebook wall has different sizes. We'll get there, is part of what I have written here. And then likewise, Twitter and several other sizes are required, have their own size. And not only size, they have the amount of weight, the weight of whatever you will need to put into it. You can't put something that is very heavy on some of these platforms. They will reject it. So for that reason, you must be able to understand how to compress, how to manage the size of whatever thing you are designing. Having that size in mind is what you will put into consideration when doing design. Now, let me scroll down. There are many other formats, but these are the common ones, which I have said that. However, design can also be converted from one graphic format to another, although there may be changes in value exactly. You can convert a job you did on CorelDRAW to AI or to Photoshop. The only thing is that the quality and the way that job behave will differ, because CorelDRAW is more of vector design software, while Photoshop is more of photo design software. So everything you design on that CorelDRAW will be converted to picture, and you won't be able to move some settings when you try to convert it to Photoshop. Now, let me use this image as an example. This image here. This is a picture, but let's assume it's a design. Now, this image, where I downloaded it, it says the size of the image is 750 by 500 pixel at 72 dpi saved as a compressed JPEG, which is 174 kilobytes. What does this mean? The length and the breadth of this image is 750 by 500 pixel, and it is done at 72 dpi. What does dpi means? Dpi means dots per inch. That means all of this image that you see is created with a certain dot that looks like box, a perfect square box, a mosaic box like that. All this design that you see, that you can see that look beautiful, this image is created with dot. Let me scroll down and you see it. Now you can see this, for example. Now this is how this image, the image here, is being created. It is when this image is zoomed to this level that you will see the dots that produce what you can see upward there. Let me show you a physical sample. Let me open my Photoshop and try to open a job so that you can see, because it can be seen clearly more on Photoshop. I want to open one of those things that we have done before. Let me open this, which I created recently. Mine is now a JPEG. Now this picture, firstly let me say that you remember I designed this on CorelDRAW, but now it's now a JPEG image. This I did it on Corel, it's now a JPEG image, so I can bring it to Photoshop as it is. Now I want to show you the pixel of this. Now to show you see it, you will need to zoom to the highest level. Now you can see some dotted square on this image. That means these are the pixels that make up this image. The number of these dots inside of an inch is talking about the DPI. That is dots per inches. And it is that dot per inches that determine how sharp or how blurred your image will be. Let me go to CorelDRAW and give an illustration, or let me even do that here in Photoshop and also explain. Sorry, no. New. Take for instance, I want to create something on this Photoshop. You can see 72 dpi, this 72 dpi, talking about RGB color. Remember I've mentioned something about RGB color. What this means is that this picture that you see here, it is 5 by 7 inches wide, but it is at 72 dpi as at of now. Not even this picture, sorry, it is what I want to create, sorry, don't mind me. If I should increase this resolution to 300, sorry, what I am saying is that the dots per inches that will be created for whatever thing I want to do will be 300, unlike the one before, which is 72. What is the DPI of this, or the size of this? I can go to image and say image size. Now this is the size of this. It is even in 300 resolution, which is DPI. Remember, resolution is mentioned in DPI. Now 300, 11 inches, 11.8, 13 inches by 7 inches height. That's the size. But in 1 inch by 1 inch of this design, I have 300 DPI there. That is dots. Those dots that I have shown you the other time. 300 of it is inside of 1 inches. You will notice that the pixel is 3,544 by 2,100 and something. How was that achieved? That is 300 times 11 points. This will give you this approximately, which I'm correct. Let me quickly do that calculation. .8 and 3 times 300 equals to, now you can see it gives me 3,544 when you approximate this 9, talking about the width, and the same thing 3,300 times this will give you this height. So that tells you the number of dots, DPI dots, pixel that makes this image. So this image is sharp enough. If I should reduce this image by 72, take note, when I choose 72 dp, the pixel changes but the inches does not change. What that tells you is that inside of 1 inch of pixel, which used to be 300, because I reduced it to 72, is now 72 dots. Now what will that cost to your design? It will mean that the quality of the design will reduce, because the more the dot that is inside of the inches, the more sharper your design is. If the dot is not that much, the design will not be sharp enough. But there is another thing about it, is that when the dot is much and it is more sharp, the size, the weight of that design is heavy. That is, the MB it will result into, it will be heavy. Look at this, for instance. When I choose 72, this place changed to 1.24 mm. But if I should change it back to 300, you can see it is at 21.6 mm. That tells you that there is difference in the heaviness of this image. And the same thing you will see in CorelDRAW. I open CorelDRAW, you can see DPI is even written here, talking about dots per point, dots per inches, sorry. So when I make a design, I choose 300 resolution. That means I am saying the dot I want inside of it should be 300. In a inch, should be 300. Let's continue before we go into the design. What is pixel? I have explained it here. This is the smallest unit of any design. It is in form of square. If you zoom in far enough to your image or design, you see that it is like a mosaic formed by small tiles. This can be seen better in Photoshop than CorelDRAW. These squarish colors are what we call pixel. They are what make up an image or design. I have explained that before. Now, the resolution is expressed in DPI, which is the acronym for dots or pixel, or pixel per inch. So if you see 72 DPI, it means that the image will have 72 pixel per inch. If you see 300 DPI, it means 300 pixel per inch, and so on. The final size of your image depends on the resolution that you choose. If an image is 4,500 and 3,000 pixel, it means that it will print at 15 by 10 inch. If you set the resolution to 300 dp, but it will be 62.5 inch by 41.6 inch at 72 dpi. What happens when you choose different resolution, different pixel, is that the size might increase if you maintain it at the accurate size. Now let me cite an example. When we get to CorelDRAW, I open a new layer and I want to import something to this place. Let me import this to explain what I am saying. Now look at this BTMP. It's talking about that this thing is a Jpeg. It's no more a CorelDRAW files. It's no more a CorelDRAW design, even though I did it in CorelDRAW, but I have converted it to Jpeg after I did it. So bringing it back to CorelDRAW is not seeing it as a CorelDRAW file again, it's seeing it as Jpeg. Now you will see 300 by 300 dpi on this. That tells you that this image is at 300 dpi, but no, it's not 300 here, mind you. It's talking about 300 dpi of it. I can check the pixel here, pixel. So 3504 pixel by 2127 pixel. Mind you, there is a difference between pixel and dpi. Dpi is talking about the amount of resolution, but it affects the pixel. Now take for instance this thing that is in 300 dpi. I increase it. By default it's already at 300 dpi. I increase it. I haven't increased it. You'll notice that the pixel increased. If I change it to inches, inches has increased also. But you will notice that the DPI has decreased. Instead of 300, it is now 88. That is, instead of 300 dots per inch, it's now 88 dots per inch. Why is it like that? Because it's trying to maintain the rules, the instruction I have planned on it when it was converted to JPEG. So maintaining that will mean that it will reduce the resolution to stretch it to the size I want. A very good thing you can use to understand this is rubber band. When a rubber band is made, by the time you are trying to stretch the rubber band, it's not as if the rubber band is becoming bigger. It's only trying to spread the content that is inside of it to other places. That's what it's doing. The same thing a graphics that is converted to JPEG or even normal graphics is doing when you try to stretch it after it has been given a guided rule fixed to a certain resolution. When it is fixed to a certain resolution, by the time you are trying to stretch it, it will reduce the stretch resolution compared to the Photoshop which I did here. Which shows, image size to 300. So this is what makes what you need to understand about the size of each of this thing we are doing on graphics. It is somehow complicated, but as you do it gradually, you will begin to understand it. You'll begin to understand it. Now, take for instance, you want to do a design. Just as I have said, do a design. And your design, you want to put it on Facebook. Before I go into that, let me continue with this so that you can now. Now, talking about the measurement of design on social medias and the likes. These are the things you need to know. The size of Facebook pages, cover image, posts and the likes on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter and other social network. It's not necessary you put all this in your brain you may not be able to know everything, but one thing is that anytime you are talking about all these measurements, it's not necessary that it must be exactly 180 by 180 pixel. What this is just simply saying that it must be in square. So any square design you do that is within, it may be 300 by 300, it may even be 400 by 400, or even 1000 by 1000. Facebook will automatically compress it to its own size. It is that size. But if it is not in a form of square, then it won't work. So take for instance, you want to do a design which must be a perfect square like the assignment I gave. For sure, when you come to this place, I haven't selected your, let me not use this method, A4 paper. You draw your square, control and you drag. so that you can have a perfect square. When you drag, it will give you, when you hold on Control and you drag, it will give you a perfect square. I put it in the center with P. Having done that, I will now put my designs within this square. I won't do exactly what you did, the assignment I gave you, so that you can think deep better. But take, for instance, I want to do something related to Christ crucified with Christ. I want to do a design around this, that I've been crucified with Christ. I've been crucified with Christ. Just this. I'm not adding any statements. I don't want to do exactly like the one I gave to you so that you can think it. Now, part of the design principle which I have said, I made it clear that there must be hierarchy. Hierarchy is one of those things that you put into consideration. So one of those things I will look at is that which of these sentence, as in which word or phrase, is very important out of all what I have written here. I have been crucified with Christ. I have been, for me, crucified is very important. With is not that much important. Christ is very important. I've analyzed this. I have been, one, crucified, very important. With is not that much important, but Christ is very important. So I have concluded within my mind which one I will make big, that I will lay emphasis on. Take, for instance, I remember I told us sometimes ago that we need to do a sketch. Just to make it easier for you, I would have loved that you sketch this on ground so that you will know that this one is what you are putting. But because I have been doing it for long, so I don't really need to do any more sketch again. Now, I break this Ctrl K to separate it. Now, this is I have been crucified with Christ. Now, I will need to look for a picture that is related to this statement which I need. You go online, you will search, just type on Google, you will search, and I don't have internet right now. I would have gone there, but I have some pictures I have as a sample. Now, I can go online and search, and you see some pictures that are related, but I have downloaded one when I thought of this. I see this picture as a good example that can help me in this design. That can help me in this design. Now, I need to add everything that will make this and this clink. Now, I have been crucified with Christ. I love this lock. I have been crucified with Christ. The name of this font is Arial. But Arial is a very common font. As a designer, it's not always advised to use Arial to do your design. Why? Because it's a common font. It doesn't look interesting again to people. People are familiar with it. So I look for a better font for all of these. Let me just, you may not have all the font I have. There's a way we install font on our system. We'll get to that level. So let me just go with Gotham. Now I use Gotham and I choose I have been crucified Let me try to look for another form of GoTerm with Christ. Let me try to use I'm trying to use cursive fonts for the one black okay. As I have said, you may not have all the fonts that I have. In fact, you can't have all the fonts that I have because you have not uploaded fonts on your system. It is only the font that came with your system that you're still using. So don't bother to use exactly like the font I am using. So you look for any font that you think it look good for whatever you're doing. Now, I have laid emphasis on crucify and Christ. Even though crucify is thicker, Christ is not that thick. But yet, the two are very important. That is why, from my point of emphasis, I have seen that the two are very important. Do I choose crucify to be more important than Christ? Yeah. I move down then. Okay. Shift up to bring it up. Now, okay. Now, because this picture has a background and has a background here around this picture of female with hand, as a professional, to do something that look good around it, it won't be good that I just make it the whole background white, since the background of this picture I'm using is not white. I can't correct this picture, or I can correct it. I can trace it and remove this background on Photoshop, but I don't have time to do that now. I don't want to do something so complicated. I want to do something simple. So for that reason, I don't want to change the background of this design. So how do I create it that it will still look good? So I want to build some things around this place, since it is beside the picture, exactly beside it, that looks better to put my whole story. Now, the height of this picture says 2.76. I lock it. I want it to be like 3. Okay, let me unlock this background. So I hold this and this. I press L for left to make it align with the left side. Then this one 3, 2, 3. Now, okay. I choose transparency on this. Okay, I want something that's still similar to this background, so let me look for something close to gray. Or I can even pick from it, choose these two, pick this color and align it. Now for me, this color doesn't really look good as far as I'm concerned. There are some other things I can do. I can change the color of this. For me, I think I prefer that. I brought it to the front, brought this one to the front. I want to change the color of this. I try to make this one go. How do I do that? I can lay another color on top of it. Something crucified. Crucifixion needs to do with blood, so I would prefer to use something like red as a background. Take for instance, remember I'm doing this only for online, I'm not printing it, so I'm choosing more of. This is the pure red. Pure red, but I need more deeper red. I mixed it with black by adding. I hold on Control and I click on black, 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 black. Is it deep enough? I think it should. Yeah, it's deep enough now. So I've got a deep red. Now, for this, return to this place and change this to 15. What is happening is that I make this image a bit transparent on this side and totally transparent on the other side. So that's why I chose this place to be 15 and this place to be 100, totally transparent on the other side. So okay, now I think I'm almost there. I'm crucified left. Okay, with only this, let me allow only this one to be. I have been crucified with Christ. White. I felt the red in it is not yet enough, so I want to add more red to that Jpeg picture. Tone. No. Sorry. Adjust tone. Let's just not change it. Okay. Okay, now I want to work on this red. You notice that the red on this image is increasing, has increased. I'm not saying you must do all of this on your own, but as far as I am, felt that's what would be good. You may not be able to do everything in details for your job, but try your best. Now that quality has improved. Okay. Price. I think I prefer this. Graphic is all about making choice. It's not necessarily not that this one is the best. Anything you choose might likely look good, but it's just about you having the eyes to see that which one will be better. But alignment is one of those things. You will notice that I'm trying to align them to make sure that they are of the same line. 80. So, left. Okay. And then to be close. All of these things affect the design to make it look good. I think this is good this way. So I just want to change the color of this. Ctrl G to group them. Then because of any interference, I try to put shadow under it. Drop shadow. Drag on this and return it. I correct the shadow effect 6. 75, I want it to look more thicker. Now, I think I'm done. Okay, everything is now in the middle. I want everything in the middle. Select, because it shows out. I want to power clip it inside the shape, or clip inside of this. Now, excuse me, it's looking good. Now, I've done something. So, is that all? No. The reason why I did it this way is because I have some things I want to put here, because I assume it's a program, church program. If it is not, for sure I must make sure this design occupies everything. Let me assume it's a church program. You can bring a logo. You can now create this background. Pale yellow. Okay. Excuse me. transparent. Transparent. Take note of the color choices. Every color I have been choosing is one color. The red, I only make it a bit cool by adding some black so that it can look deeper. I use yellow, light yellow and orange. Every color I've been using are still within their family of cool and warm color, of cool color, sorry. Now let me assume I want a logo of a church. Take notes, is because I've designed the logo. I'm trying to save time. Assuming I've not, I will go and start and design the logo first. But that's why design is not something, I have said before, design is not something that you do alone. It may be something that you have done before and you now continue with it, or something that you've used before. Because doing only designs from the scratch can be time consuming. Logo, I'm trying to look for logo. I think I have the logo of my church somewhere. Logo of my church, I have it somewhere. I have the logo of my church somewhere. Come on, don't waste my time. I don't have time. It's loading. It's taking much time to load. I don't know why. Okay. Okay. Sorry. I'm looking for logo. That's why I'm trying to open other places. I just want to save myself time. I'll start designing that. This logo, and I need this information to save myself time. Copy, paste. I'm trying to use this to save my time because I don't want the video to be too long. So let me assume this is the information that is there. As I have said, I'm just trying to save my time, that is why. It's too close to the logo. Now, the logo. Now, let me just use one color, any color like that, like that, like that, like that. I don't want to use red again. I've been using red all through. Okay, same please. Okay. Sorry. Now, this is it. I've done something that look good. However, everywhere is not yet full. It's not necessarily everywhere must be full. It must be simple and easy to read. This is easy to understand how I did this. I don't want to waste time. Come and be blessed. Let me just add that one to the base. Come and be blessed. Change the font. So it's a simple font. It's not the important statements here. So I don't need to make it bold, I don't need to make it big. Is okay. And I centralize it. Now, I think I've got a good flyer that can stay online, and this is okay. So simply the way to go about all this. Now, take for instance, I want to convert it to Jpeg. Just select everything, Ctrl E. Ctrl E will show a dialog box for me to convert this to JPEG. Remember I told you of several formats. Now I haven't clicked on this. These are several formats. All of them are close to 30 or 40. I've never counted them before, but I know there are many. That I can convert CorelDRAW jobs designed to JPEG, PDF, EPS, PNG, AI, Illustrator. I use these ones commonly. That's why they are staying up here. Now, where do I want to save it? Let me go and save it in that document side graphic training. That's where I'm saving it. I've selected JPEG. Now, save it as Precified. Sorry. Now I click on exports, which is what is going right there. Export takes me here. Now, take note of something. Even though I use RGB to do the design, when I'm converting to JPEG, I can change all the color there to CMYK. depending on whatever I need. But because it is still RGB I need, it's something I want to use and I'm not printing it, I choose RGB. Now, I haven't chosen RGB. The resolution of this design, based on what I have planned, is in 300. You remember, I can reduce the resolution here, and I can increase it by just putting any resolution I want, maybe 500 by myself. But I don't need that, because I know the more resolution it has, the more heavy it becomes. So I just need the 300 resolution is okay with me. And in fact, it has told me the size here. The size that is going to likely come out with is 1.19 MB. And I remember the assignment I gave, I said it should be more than 250 kilobytes. So that means this size is still too heavy. So I'm now at 254, but yet it's still heavy. So for me to reduce it, I can come here, because I wouldn't suggest you reduce this to low. No, medium is still okay. Medium is still okay, because if you reduce it to low, even look at it, you will notice something. The quality is dropping. Let me increase this. The quality is dropping because I chose low, but medium is still okay. Even me, I always prefer to choose this high. Now, because it is in high, it is in 365 kilobytes, but I can change this to 200 resolution, because I don't want it to be much. Now, the size is now in 205 kilobytes, which is okay based on the size I gave you to do it. So I can now click OK. Now let me go to the place where I have it. This is where I have the design. Now it's here. So it comes out as 212 kilobytes. The size is 212. Use a good one. I can take it to my phone or take to my social media. That's all about this design. The last thing I want to mention is this. I forgot to say it the other time. When we are talking about all these measurements, the size of image size in social media, I said it's not necessary to cram everything. They are too much. But you can easily know the size of anywhere you want to put in anything by just going to the internet. Take for instance Facebook. Here's my Facebook account. You want to know the size of this cover photo. You want to know the size of this cover photo so that you can put any image in it based on that size. You just right click on that place and click on inspect. Sorry, it's coming. Okay. Now, having clicked on inspect, it's going to show you the code, the coding that is used in programming this place. So when you hold on this, when you bring your cursor there, it's highlight it. So now it's showing me the details. The details of the resolution. I can see 1229 by 381 pixel. That's the recommended rendered size, and the strict size as this. Any of the two can go, any of the two can work. So that's just simply the way to know the likely size you are to do your design, if this is where you want to put your design. So if I am putting my design here, for sure I haven't copied that, I just come to my Photoshop, my Corel Draw, and insert that measurement. Then I will set the resolution as I want it, so that the quality doesn't look poor. That's simply the way to go about it. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed this class. If you've not liked our page, kindly like it. Have a wonderful time.